I don't know how to start this because we're friends.
I know.
Like, such good friends.
I know.
Like, I did one with Mo, but even that, I'm like...
Oh, he's not us. No.
No one is us.
This is gonna be a fucking riot.
I'm gonna have to edit a lot out. This is gonna get, like, inappropriate and disrespectful and, like...
Authentic.
Authentic.
People are gonna hate us.
We're gonna start talking about our fucking jokes, dude. Oh my god. I'm gonna put my phone down. Let's rock and roll, baby. Okay, so one of the things, in all seriousness, one of the things that I want to talk about was you deciding to move out here.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, I don't know, I've had so many people since I moved out here and since doing the podcast and talking about it. It's like they want to move somewhere, but they have a million reasons why they can't. And I feel like you had all those reasons. I had similar reasons. And it's like, at least for you, what was your breakthrough process of like, okay, this is something I want to do and X, Y, and Z is in the way, but I'm going to do it anyways.
So for me, I think I was a little bit opposite of that. It wasn't, I can't leave because of X, Y, and Z reason. The whole time at that moment I was working with Equinox, and like I had already known leaving college when I was moving back to Boston that this was temporary. Mm-hmm. I obviously had found myself in some sort of way when I was in Australia, so the whole time I knew that I was leaving. Yeah. And I remembered being in this exercise that Equinox provided for us. They were talking to us about our goals, and I was saying that I need to save. And the instructor asked me, well, what are you saving for? And I was like, to leave. And he kept saying to me, well, where are you going? And I was like, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
And I kept saying, I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm leaving. And I know that when I figure out where I need to go, I want to be able to buy that ticket on spot. So for me, that whole year was saving for a big move that I didn't know where I was going. But I knew that I had a purpose out there, and I knew that there was so much life to live and so much experience to have, and that I was meant to do something really, really big. And I was so eager to go and do that I was antsy to get out. Like, don't get me wrong, like me moving out here was not all fucking dandelions and everybody fucking knows it. Yeah. It was me being homeless for a goddamn month. It was me sleeping on the beach. It was me eating whey protein as food because I couldn't afford groceries.
Good, it mixes with my water.
It's delicious.
It mixes with my water. It's fucking soluble in anything. It's great.
Yeah, it was me literally living out of Airbnbs. It was my parents freaking out at me knowing that I was homeless and me pretending I wasn't. Like, it was fucking easy.
Do you think that was the hardest part, like the beginning of it?
Oh, absolutely.
You think the beginning was the hardest?
Yes.
Okay, how come?
Because I moved out here with the only plan being that I was going to work at a job that I knew I was quitting.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually,
This is what I want long term.
Yeah, so I had no place to live. I had a car. I had 2 suitcases. But I had no friends. I knew one person who was living 45 minutes away. Like, I knew you.
So no one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No one. I'm thinking in my head, who is this person?
Yeah, there was no one. It was very quiet and it was lonely, and I found myself to be in that moment of like, this is the beginning of your chapter. Like, this is how it all starts. Like, this is like just continuing to tell myself like, this is hard, but it's supposed to be. If it was easy, everyone would get up and move. Yeah, but it's not.
I think that's a good piece too. It's like, it's hard, but it's supposed to be. Like, anything that's worth having puts work, whether it's a relationship or a career or a move or really creating a life that you're obsessed with. It's gonna take a level of work that you probably don't want to do, but that's the payment.
And that's the thing too, is when people sit there and they say like, oh my god, like, this is so hard, like, I moved out here and like nothing else is working for me, like, but it's like, well, no fucking shit. Yeah. Like, we all had to come out here and do the exact same thing. More importantly, like, living out here isn't easy.
No,
it's
you
hard.
have to do it, though.
It's hard work. Half the people out here have like 3 jobs that they're working, and they're grinding their asses off to be out here. Yeah. So if you're out here, you better make it work, and it better be hard for you.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And we talked about this the other day, the fact that so many people reached out to me and was like, I want to move there, or California, or wherever their place was. And they're like, that's what's going to change my life. And I couldn't think that was more opposite. Because in my mind, like, who you are in Massachusetts or New Hampshire or wherever the fuck you're from, who you are in a small town or a small state or whatever is who you are everywhere. It doesn't matter where you move. Your habits, your rituals, your principles, your self-image, your self-worth, all of those things stay the same. You're just in a different climate.
Exactly.
That's it.
You telling yourself that moving away is going to change everything for you is just a story you're wrapping yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you can't run from your problems. You can't run from the people back at home. You
We literally talked about
you think you're running away from your family, but you're not. They're still your family. You're still going to see them on holidays. You're still going to talk to them. And like if you don't become complete with all those people and situations in your life, then you're just completely making up a story that this new world you're entering in is going to be so much better. You're still carrying everything that you have been telling yourself for the past 24 years.
It's like escapism and avoidance at its highest point, where it's like, me moving to this new place is going to change everything. It's going to change who I am. It's going to change how I feel about myself. It's going to change the relationships I have with family or exes or friends or whoever. And it's like, it actually changes nothing. That's my biggest advice to people. I'm like, if you're doing it to get something out of it, like truly, like you're trying to invest in this move in order to feel better about your job or who you are as a person or relationships or whatever, you're trying to get your mind off something, that's where people fuck up in the moving process.
Oh, 100%. And not just that, you even just touched on relationships. So people are running from past relationships and they're like, oh, like this next relationship is going to be so great because I'm moving and all of a sudden I'm this new person.
Yeah.
Says really. You are the exact same person. What work did you put in? What did you uncover about yourself? What story did you create when you were younger that is the reason that you are who you are in relationships? You haven't done jack shit. Your next relationship with fucking Tweedledee is going to be the exact same relationship with Tweedledum from the previous one.
Yeah, nothing changes.
Nothing.
Your friendships are the same, your relationships are the same, your attitude, your energy is the same. So you and I have both had, and like we can't even begin to explain it, but transformational experiences with our move. What I want to ask you is, what are some of the things that you did, whether it was preparing for your move to California or while you were staying here, that made it such a transformational move? Like, I know already that you've invested in yourself and you've worked on yourself and you've done just a ton of reflecting over yourself in every situation that you've been in. But what would you say are some of the biggest things that have really contributed to your growth as a person out here in California?
I think the first thing was when I first moved out here, I gave up drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I acknowledged who I was. Not the false pretenses of like the scene and like what California is supposed to be. Like I was like, I'm a fitness hippie and I love authentic people, and I surrounded myself with people that I genuinely wanted to be friends with, which helped me just overall become happy.
Yeah.
And with that, taking chances on myself, understanding that like I dictate my success.
Mm-hmm.
And the only person that's going to make anything happen in my life is me. And if I fail, that's my own fault. So taking those risks and completely ignoring or not asking people, especially from back home, about what they think I should do. Hey, I want to quit this job. Well, don't do it. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to start my own business. Well, you don't know anybody. Well, yeah, I'm going to get
it out.
Eventually, I just realized, there's a reason I moved away in the first place, and it was because I saw bigger things for myself. So I started actually taking my own mindset and putting it out into the universe, and genuinely everything that was going on in that spinning wheel, listening to it.
Yeah.
And then from there, honestly, I think it was the Landmark Forum.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I went into that forum thinking, I am good, I'm golden,
I've been doing the work.
I've been doing the work like this whole year. Like I've left relationships that are not serving me. I have,
had hard conversations.
I just signed a lease and put myself in a location away from other things that I don't want to be a part of anymore. Like, you know, business is good, like this and that, like I'm working out all the time, I'm super healthy, like I'm just going for the personal work, I'm good. And I'm sitting in this room of 200 people being like, yo, these people are tapped. Like they got some issues. Yeah. But I'm also like, you know, I put in a lot of money towards this. Like if I paid for this, then I want to get my money's worth. So I'm gonna participate. And they tell you in the Landmark Forum that like you get what you give. Yeah. So I participated and I told 200 people my deepest, darkest secrets and realized that I always say that like I'm not an emotional person. Like I which is like, you know, I never really cry. Yeah. And it's because I don't talk about my emotions. The second I did,
like there's a quick formula to avoiding it.
The second I did, I was like, give me the tissue box. People. Like, I was a wreck. And doing that, I actually realized that I was chained. Like I was completely strapped into this most absurd story of myself and identifying who I was, and it wasn't what anybody else thought of me, it's what I thought of myself. Yeah. And I created a story that all these people thought this of me.
Yeah, you had to be something.
Yeah, that I had to be this fitness fanatic, and that was me, and that was all I was. And if, you know, I wasn't doing that, if that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, then who was I? Yeah.
And so, like, number one, you're Morgan, you're whatever you want to be, and you just happen to do fitness as a career, as an interest, as a passion.
Exactly. So here I am, you know, creating this transformation of a new identity and just like deshackling myself and like being me. Yeah. And it is helping me transform other people's lives and helping them understand that this story you've wrapped yourself in, that you can never change, that this is physically who you will be for the rest of your life, that this is it. You can't go and run that marathon. You can't do this, you can't do that because of where you are. Like that's a mindset and that's a story you wrapped yourself in. Like you can do this. Yeah. Whether you get on, you know, whether 6 months down the road you decide to do this or not, 6 months is gonna go by. And in 6 months, you're either going to sit there and say, why did I still not start this? Yeah. Or you're going to say, look at how far I came. Yeah. And it is the same thing with the personal growth and transformation and personal development. It's the exact same thing, you know. Nothing's going to be easy for the first couple days. This past year was a roller coaster.
Yeah, I can relate.
But it was the best roller coaster.
Yeah, you're like, but I chose it. I chose to be on this with the highs and the lows. Like, you know where you're going. You know where you're headed. You know that there's so much growth in your future that you're like, I'm willing to take these steps that may be hard, that may be challenging, that may be painful at times, but I'm willing to take these steps in order to get where I want to go inevitably.
And I think we both honestly did that.
Oh yeah.
I think we both sat there, the conversations we have already are fucking electric, but like, I think we both knew like, we have work to do on ourselves. Like,
and I think the biggest step for both of us, and this is what a move will give you if you allow it to, is you have the choice to choose each and every person that you invite into your life once you move. There's no obligations. There's no one you have to be friends with. There's no, I'm so-and-so's friend and we've been friends since we were kids, so we're still friends now and we make an effort and time. Like, now, if you're gonna spend the day with somebody, if you're gonna go to the beach, if you're gonna get coffee, if you're gonna get dinner, it's like, that has to be somebody that aligns with you on so many levels that it's worth your time and it's worth their time to really invest in that friendship.
They say that there's a difference between a choice and a decision. And you know, what you're saying right now is that I choose to hang out with you because I'm choosing to hang out with you. Yeah. But spending time with someone that you don't want to hang out with is like, I'm hanging out with this person because they asked. Yeah. And keeping those people in your life, the ones that aren't helping you become your highest self. Yeah. I mean, it's fine, but you're going to stay stagnant.
Yeah. If that's what you want.
If that's what you want.
That's okay.
That's all right.
And it's also like, I think it's also okay to recognize where you are in the process. Like, you and I can confidently say that we allow and don't allow certain types of people in and out of our lives. There's, we have standards and qualities and things that we look for in a relationship that are our non-negotiables. Somebody listening to this may just be starting out, and it's like the first step maybe just is the self-awareness of, this is how this person actually makes me feel. This is this is how much fun we have. This is how trusting this person is. This is how loving this person is. Is that something that I want in my life? And maybe that's just where you start, because I know I started that process back in Boston once I graduated. I really went through just like an overall transformation of like, well, what do I want in my life? And what do I want that to look like? And what type of friends do I want? And what type of relationships do I want? And that originally for me started with self-awareness. And then as I built up the self-awareness to know what I wanted, I was able to start voicing my opinions and making decisions based off of what I actually authentically wanted, and not just what I was conditioned to want. And condition isn't necessarily like like a lot of people are going to say like society conditions people, right? I think there's also conditioning in friendships that we've been friends for X amount of years. This is what we've been through. This is what we've done together. That lasts forever. And it's like, that's actually not the truth. The truth is you want to constantly be investing into relationships that you're making that person their best self and they're making you the best self just by being a reflection, a mirror, and support.
Even in general, like, why do you want to be in a relationship, like a friendship with anybody?
Yep.
If it's not an authentic relationship. If that person, whoever is in your life, whatever friend it is, if you are not being your most authentic self, if they are not being their most authentic self, hey, you want to go bowling? Yeah, I want to go bowling. You don't want to fucking go bowling.
Yeah, bowling fucking sucks.
You are bowling sucks.
Yes, fuck bowling. If you like bowling, go fuck yourself. Me and Morgan don't want to hang out with you.
But you're creating a false reality
that you want to go.
That you want to go, and also of who you are to this other person.
Yeah.
And the truth is, they don't actually know who you are. They know, again, this false reality that unfortunately is your fault for creating for them, because you're not being who you are. You're not speaking your truth. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, you have a false relationship.
Yeah. And it's little things along the way. Like I'm glad you brought up such a minute example, not like an extreme example of like, this is who the person is. It's like even just saying yes to something that you don't want to say yes to. One, that's going to build resentment in the person that's saying yes when they want to say no. And two, that disconnects the people as a unit. It's like, if I don't know that person doesn't want to go, then I'm going to invite them every time I go. And I'm going to be like, why wouldn't you come? Like, you love bowling. You're just like, fuck bowling. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to go to bowling. It fucking sucks. The shoes smell, and I just hate it.
And like, everyone wears the same shoes.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
It's disgusting.
But it's like, it's also hard. I think that's another piece of it. It's like being authentic with people. I know the term gets thrown around very easily.
I think it gets thrown around because people don't actually understand it, and they don't know how to be it.
Yeah, they think authentic is like a fluffy term of like being yourself and it's okay to be you, and like the whole positivity mindset type thing.
It's not.
But there's a really raw, dark, hard, painful truth when you're authentic, because you have to look at yourself for who you are, and you have to give that to others.
No matter what the circumstances will be afterwards.
No matter what the circumstances are, and you do have, I'm not saying without fear, but there's a piece of you that has to accept that person is going to do what they want. And all I can do is be my most authentic self and tell people how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking and all of that. And then it's on them.
And that's the unfortunate part, is that as human beings, we create so much meaning and so much, and we care about looking good versus looking bad.
Yeah.
So whenever you have that fear that, by the way, you've completely...
Mm-hmm.
You're taking away that other person's opinion.
Yeah. Their truth. You're taking away their truth.
You're taking away their
truth. By creating a story in your head as to
what they're going to say, what they're going to do, how they're going to react. You have no idea. You saying, oh, I know exactly how that person's going to react. No, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. You're creating a story based off of things that have happened in the past. You have no idea how they're going to react. And by you not being authentic, by not being honest, you're taking that away from them. And again, you're completely creating a disconnect between the two of you.
I think that's the biggest thing at the end of all of this is the disconnect. Because I totally see where, you know, getting in your own head and thinking, well, this is what they're going to say. This is how they're going to feel. This. And it's like, you actually don't know unless you invite that conversation in. I think the biggest thing with that is the fact that you're disconnected with the person. And it's like you're having all these thoughts and all these fears about something you've done or something you've said or something you'd like to say or feelings that you have or whatever the case may be. You're having all of this fear around it and anxiety and you're thinking about it. And it's like, instead of being in your head about it, why don't you have the conversation with the person? And I think that's where people struggle. It's so against social norms to have those types of conversations, even though those conversations are what build true, authentic relationships. Like, that's what real love is. Unconditional real love comes from those types of conversations. And that's exactly what people, I feel, shy away from.
Oh, absolutely. We're so scared of being rejected that we're so scared of being rejected by people that we're not true to who we are, which in the end only makes you unhappy as a person, and again creates a false identity that next thing you know, you're 24 years down the line and you're like, why am I not happy?
Yeah. And it's interesting because there's a lot of people that exact age that are like, I don't know why I'm not happy. I was supposed to be happy. Like, I got the job, I have the girlfriend, I have the boyfriend, I have like everything that I'm supposed to have.
And isn't that just
not
it?
happy.
I'm supposed to have this.
Supposed.
That's the story that you created based off of who knows what happened to you in your
typically,
past.
what I find with clients and with anyone that reaches out is it's typically expectations from others. Not even expectations of yourself. Expectations from family, from parents, from friends, and from society that I'm supposed to have this type of job at this age. I'm supposed to retire at this age. I'm supposed to get married by this age.
And that's the thing too, is that it's all perspective. And what people don't understand all the time, or as it occurs to me, that people don't understand, is that we all see things in different ways. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, communicating is a whole nother ball game, but you know, if two people don't see eye to eye with something, it's like, hey, it occurs to me that, you know, two people go out to dinner. It occurs to me that personally, I was raised that men pay for dinner. It occurs to him that you should split the bill. There's nothing wrong with how both of us are seeing it. Okay, you want to split the bill? Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that it occurs to me that this is how things should be.
Yeah.
And there's nothing
difference in opinion.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think people get so wrapped up also in like who's right, who's wrong.
And there really is no right and wrong.
There's no right and wrong.
That kind of stuff.
It's literally just, oh, you see things that way, I see things this way.
I like that.
Yeah, why are you making meaning out of it? Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Quit your bitching.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that is what it is. Like, you're seeing it one way, the other person is seeing it a completely different way. And both of those opinions and thoughts and feelings are based off of a lifetime of experiences.
Yeah, and you don't have to, the other person doesn't have to see your point of view. Like, they can say, I hear you. I'll do my best to accommodate your feelings with that, but they don't have to agree with you.
No,
and
they don't have
totally
to abide
fine.
by those rules that you have created.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I think you and I talk about non-negotiables so much, because it's like, what are the things that matter most to you? What are the things that you're not willing to budge on? What are the things that you require in relationships of any kind? That way it's like, when you're able to accurately communicate that, then it's like, okay, we're on the same page. And then the rest is just gravy. The rest is like, okay, you think we should do this today, but I think we should do this, or you think that's how we should do something. I disagree. It's like, well, let's just talk about it. It's not a big deal. There's no right or wrong. It's like, at the end of the day, we have the same goal.
Like, we're just communicating to make sure there's no disconnect within that.
It's so crazy though, because I guess I didn't realize how bad my communication was until it improved. Like, you don't actually realize how little you share with people, even if you say, oh, I'm an open book. You don't realize how little you share with people until you're really challenged by authentic relationships. because they're going to push you in ways that other relationships just won't.
I mean, I think alone I realized within the past year that some of the relationships that I had in my life, that they were going to be relationships that were going to be with me for the rest of my life. And they weren't great relationships. And I had been living in this story that they're high maintenance, or they just always do this, or they freak out over everything, or this and that. And acknowledging that they have their own perspective and recognizing that it was me.
Yeah.
I'm the one who isn't being present. I'm the one who is creating a story that this is who they are, and like this is how it always is. Every time we get together, I'm already walking in there with a certain energy.
You're in defense.
I'm on defense all the time.
You're immediately defensive in the entire situation. You're like, I know you're gonna do this. I know you're gonna act like this.
I know this isn't gonna be fun. I know that, like, all I'm thinking is what I'm gonna do next. I'm not even being present. So finally having those conversations where it's like, hey, this is how I've felt the past 10 years because of this one situation that happened.
Yep.
I owe you an apology because I've been creating a life for us based off that one situation.
Yeah.
And I just want to know, what do you think of me as a person? And hearing them say that, like, whatever it is so powerful because you acknowledge for a second, like, this person thinks of me in a completely different context that I thought that they did.
Yeah.
And it's because you asked. Boom.
Boom.
Look at that.
That
you
is
just
literally the
ask them a question.
Yeah. What do you actually feel? What do you actually think? What was your perspective on, even just on that situation? Because I think as human beings, you're right, where it's like we shy away from looking bad. So you don't want to bring up things, you don't want to talk about things that you've done wrong or that others have maybe done wrong to you. And it's like, sometimes it's just an open and honest conversation that is so needed about that exact situation. Like whatever situation you're talking about, where it's like, because of that scenario, I created a 10-year story that when I do X, you do Y. When I do this, you do that. You're always like this.
When I do this,
happens.
this is the outcome.
This is the outcome. This is how you act. You're always going to do X, Y, and Z.
You don't even give the other person an opportunity to grow.
No. And I think the biggest thing is you're stopping the pattern. Like when it's happening, you're like, oh, I'm recognizing that I'm feeling like this because of the situation and what's going on right now. What are you seeing this as? Because in the past, this is how we handled it, and it clearly just didn't work. At least in my mind, I didn't think that this was the best way to go about it. I didn't feel complete from it.
I think that also, I mean, you know, obviously, and like I know some people in my life know that I've had some very difficult, powerful, strong conversations with some people in my life recently that they were exiled. They were exiled. Some of them were, one of them was 14 years ago. And that relationship was exiled. And I bet they were super surprised to get a phone call from me, but I now sit there 14 years later and I'm like, I feel nothing towards the situation anymore.
Yeah.
Because we sat down and for once we communicated everything of how we felt, and the other person was open to hearing how you felt, and it was so powerful. And I really think that every single person, like I think everyone listening to this podcast, honestly, everyone should take that chance and call the person that you have been thinking of here and there, or the person that did you wrong or fucked you up,
and that's
or whatever
the thing.
it is.
Like, just to be clear, we're obviously not, when Morgan and I talk, it's super personal. We're going to talk about who it is, what happened, the emotions behind it, the meaning we created. But in a podcast, there's obviously a layer of protecting others that we're not going to disclose. But when we're talking about like, oh, this person I haven't had a relationship in 14 years, like when she's saying have those hard conversations, this really is like a parent that left you. This is somebody who treated you horribly in a relationship. This is somebody who cheated on you or lied to you. This is
someone that you're sitting there saying like, this is why my self-worth is gone. Which by the way, it's not.
It's not them.
It's not them. It's you wrapping yourself inside of that.
Inside of the story that was created.
Because you created meaning from it.
Yeah. You created meaning from this one person doing whatever it is they did or saying whatever it is they said, that then had a ripple effect. And our human brains are designed to be like, okay, is this data that I'm receiving going to support that belief, or is it going to eliminate that belief? And it's like you're constantly looking for things that then support that. So you're like, oh, I we'll talk self-worth, right? I had a guy that cheated on me and left me. It's like, oh, I have horrible self-worth because of that person, right? Like, let's just play with it. It's like, okay, so since then, you've also picked people in your lives. You also had friendships. You've also had family relationships and situations that you have pulled from all of those. And you've piled it into, oh, this is also why I'm not worth it. This is also why I have bad self-image. This is also why people would leave me or wouldn't want to be a part of my life. And you're compiling all these reasons based off of that original story. And that original story, you may not even know why any of that happened without, once again, having me ask.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you've been believing and thinking this of yourself for 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, and now it's just embedded in your brain. Mm-hmm. It's how you're walking around every single day. It's how you look at yourself in the mirror. It's how you present yourself when you introduce yourself to somebody.
Yep. And Tony Robbins' work, it's explained as beliefs and identity. Whereas in the landmark world, which we didn't really explain it, but basically landmark is...
It's a transformational forum.
A transformational forum, like Morgann said.
It's a little bit of a retreat. It's about a 5-day retreat.
Yeah. And, in that, it's called stories. So you may hear it kind of used interchangeably. It's used differently in different practices and by different teachers. But at the end of the day, you're breaking down those walls, those which are painful, things that have really been tough for you. That's where you have to look for those types of conversations.
Yeah, you're right.
And you have done that. You have called people that I would have never imagined you called.
I called people that the friends that were closest to me, when I told them the people that I called, they wanted to sign themselves up.
Yeah.
Because, and that was the greatest thing about this whole thing, is I was creating so much power and so much emotion in the people that I was sharing with. Mm-hmm. That this is how I felt. This is who I called. And it's beautiful. Yeah. And it's awesome. And I feel alive because of it now. And like I have love for this person now in some sort of way. Mm-hmm. And I created the possibility of a new friendship. And these people that I called were like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Because they know who you are as a person. My friends knew who I was as a person. And their first reaction was, like, if this is what happened to you, if this is who you called, then like, I need to do this.
Yeah, this needs to be a part of my life as well. And it's just like, I think one of the coolest pieces about this work is you realize that every single person is a human being. And they're doing things to fill their own needs and to fuel an identity and to kind of make a story believed to be true. They're doing all these things, but they're human beings at the end of the day. Everyone has the same heart, and it's there, and it's about kind of pulling that to the surface and leading with your heart instead of all the other shit.
Yeah, and it's okay for us all to sit there and want to shy away from things, mm-hmm. but you're human. Yeah. We are human. We are alive, and we have emotions, and you are who you are. Mm-hmm. So put that out there.
Sometimes, I mean, even just last night, we had so many good conversations. We really have great conversations always, which is why we have to have multiple podcasts. But I something about the conversations last night where it's just like, when you can just like tell people things and you're like, oh, they love me unconditionally. It doesn't matter what I say to them. It doesn't matter what I do or what I've done in the past.
So Liv and I have recently hit this point of like being so authentic.
What is it, like no mercy?
No mercy. No. Listen, Liv and I are the China wall. Is taking us down. So Liv and I have opened up that possibility, next level in our friendship, that we are just so authentic with each other and sharing with each other that I'll be mid-drive and I get a phone call from Liv being like, I just realized I never told you this.
Yeah,
And it's something from 3 years ago that she's just never told anybody, and she wants to call and tell someone. And it's the same thing with me. I'm, a little tipsy after a couple beers on New Year's, and I shoot her a text real quick. Yeah, I never told you about this, but this happened.
Yeah.
And we were just hitting this new level, and like...
It feels so fucking good. I've never had it, too.
Never.
It's just like...
Just expose...
Until now.
Everything that you've never told anybody, that you are looking at a friend, and you're like, you love me for who I am, and you do not judge, even if I've done some shameless shit.
Like this one time when I was 5 years old on the bus, you're like, I spit on someone's drawing, and I never got over it.
For the record, I did not do
No,
that.
neither one of us did. I made it up. It was just a story.
Yeah, like, and that's kind of it. That's also a huge part about being authentic, is when you aren't authentic, and I have to call in and go, I did something really fucking shameless.
And then once you say it, you're just like, well,
but
we're saying it.
You know what I did right there? I gave my integrity, and I said I would be authentic. So
this is how I have to be.
I have to tell you what I did, and that it was fucked up.
Yeah.
And I'm not proud of it.
Yeah, it's not my best.
But it happened, and I'm gonna be better.
And you know what it is though, and I'm a big believer in this. We've talked about it. It's like everybody has really dark places that they go if they're pushed or if they choose to be there.
Yeah.
Everybody has a dark place that they can go, and everybody has stuff that they store there. I've done this, I've said this, I shouldn't have been this person, I was this, I was that. And you hide those things and you bury them under layers and layers and layers of lies and excuses, and literally coming up with reasons as to why you had to do a bad thing or say a bad thing or whatever.
Yeah.
You're validating that experience. It is so much better, so much healthier, and it feels so much like it's invigorating when you're able to say it to someone and be like,
literally ditch.
I never told you this, but I just want to share it, whether it's about you or it's about something else in my life, that it's like, I just want to share this with somebody because I'm holding on to it by myself. And it stays dark if I keep it by myself.
And this is a whole nother level of having those, again, authentic, real, raw relationships. The honest ones, the true ones. Because ditch your fucking judgmental friends. Those are not friends.
No,
people that you sit there and you try to tell them something you've been holding on to, something you did, and they sit there and they make you feel like shit about it. That's not a friendship. Ditch those people. They fucking suck.
They do. Because that is love based off of conditions.
Yeah.
And that's also love based off of, with the bowling example, it's like a condition is like, you have to be the person that's going to want to go bowling, or you have to. You know what's a good one? No, sweetheart. No, reel it in. But I noticed a lot of pushback when I decided to stop drinking. I did different periods of doing zero drinking or low drinking or whatever. And I remember there was so much pushback. And it's like, why? If I chose to not drink for the rest of my life, would that change our friendship? Because from my experience, in my opinion, I don't believe that should change anything. If you love me as a person, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. You're gonna choose to support it just like I would vice versa. And I think that kind of like circles back in a way to what you're saying, where it's like judgmental people or people that are kind of making you feel a certain way, have those conversations and be like, whoa, what is the goal here? Like, why did you just say that? Like, where is that coming from? What are you trying to achieve with a comment like that, with a statement like that, with something? That way you're able to, one, ask and start kind of digging deeper into why they're acting this way, why they're creating this. And then two, you can say like, okay, is this something that I want to have around? Is this a person that is a good and genuine friend of me? Because I know damn fucking well every single person that I've ever been friends with in my entire life has done some fucked up shit. They've done some really good shit, and they're mainly good people. But they've also fucked up. We're human beings and we make mistakes. And if you're not able to be open and honest and authentic about your mistakes with your friends,
you're
with
gonna
whatever friend it is,
you're gonna carry it for the rest of your life.
You're gonna carry it, and you also have the wrong fucking friends.
Yeah.
You gotta find some better friends. Because that's huge too. Like, really growing with each other.
I think for both of us too, especially with moving out here, that's what I decided that I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we can all go out to the bars, we can have a blast. but it's meaningful. It's meaningless. It's meaningless conversation with most of the time meaningless people who know nothing about you. They don't remember the conversation the next day. And what? You have a $120 bar tab, and what'd you get out of it? A hangover? Cool.
Good for you.
Coming out here, I wanted real, raw friendships with people that knew me, that
deeply knew me and understood
for who I was, like knew me backwards and forwards, understood me, just loved me for being me, and wanted to have just conversation and pick each other's brains and challenge each other. And like that is the relationships that I decided that I wanted out here. And that was a huge turnaround for me. Was, you know, California is awesome. It is so much fun. But when you're a part of the quote unquote scene and you're doing all these things, like what real relationships do you have out of that?
Yeah. You got to get people that understand. You got to get people that support. You got to get people that deeply care about you and you deeply care about them.
Yeah. And you know, we it's like we all want to be a part of something, but why?
But you have to invest yourself, your time, and you like those tough, authentic conversations. That's what it takes in order to get those types of relationships. Yeah. And I hate to say it, but for a lot of people, it's easier to just go to the bar. Yeah, it's easier to just stick with the friends you've had.
And they're completely escaping a reality of the fact that honestly, you're probably sitting there thinking that there's more.
Yeah.
But you're going to accept what's already going on in your life because of whatever reason it may be that you're going to give yourself.
And human beings want connection. It is like in our DNA, in our tribal needs to desire deep connection.
Absolutely.
And if you're not doing that, you're just doing yourself a disservice, because at the end of the day, you live life once. There's no do-overs, there's no redos, there's no nothing. You live once and you die. And if you don't make those relationships, if you don't have those hard conversations, you're never going to know what it's like to truly love and be loved.
Yeah.
And that's the fucking tea.
That's the fucking tea. That is how the cookie fucking crumbles.
I hate us. It's so challenging to do a podcast with you. I don't realize how often we make jokes.
Oh.
I don't. Constantly.
Because you knew that you wanted to say
I wanted to say certain things that I could not say.
Also, though, to be honest, I think another thing that really did help me out here is I feel like more often than enough, and I think you'll completely agree with me on this, is that I hear people are always like, oh, like I'm so jealous. I wish I was you. I wish I could. I wish I could do that. And it's like, okay, so why can't you? Oh, well, I have a job that if I stay with until I'm 60, I'm set up to retire at this much money. So you're telling me you're working to die?
Yeah.
That's what you just told me.
Really sad. But it, you know what it does?
But they don't know what else is out there.
No, they don't know what else is out there. There's also, fear is a powerful emotion, and it's going to allow you to make irrational decisions. And what they're trying to give you in that job, that if, you know, when you hit 65, you have this, you're set for life. They're giving you security. And it's the exact opposite of your fear.
They're trying to keep you
so
in a box.
You're running to it. Whereas you don't realize that you can create your own security in your life, in your finances, in your relationships, and especially in your fucking career.
A huge thing that I recognize the difference between like being back home in Boston and then being out in San Diego is that people out here in San Diego, every time I hear someone say, I really want to start my own business, I want to open up a boutique, I want to do this, they have done it within like 2 weeks.
Yep.
And people back on the other coast more or less are working 9 to 5, and they're like, oh, I would love to do that. Oh, I want to do that. And it's like, you can. I can't speak for you, but I mean, I know you've done a hell of a lot of personal development.
Oh my God.
And you've done more than I have. And I'm over here saying, I just, you know, I put the work in, I made the effort, but I also invested in myself.
Yeah.
I went to events. I went to a forum. I went away for 5 days. Like, I did all this stuff, and I'm telling you right now, that's why I have this mindset. Because I paid for knowledge, and I paid for tools that helped unwarp my brain.
Yeah, and if you think about it too, the, you know, Landmark is something that you ended up doing in December, which is shy of a year after being here.
Yeah.
There was a lot of steps that you took that were free before that. And I think that's another thing, because people are going to say, oh, well, you went to an event, you went to Tony Robbins, you went to Landmark, you went nah. No. I did years and years of books and audiobooks and podcasts and YouTube videos and journaling. Journaling's huge.
Something that I recognized when I lived out in Australia, I was the happiest person I'd ever been. And that was then, right?
Yeah.
And I recognized part of it was complaining. Us New Englanders love to complain.
Oh my god, it's
about
fucking funny.
Everything.
Yeah, they love it.
And I realized how often I did it. And we were out in Australia. There was an Australian one time who was like, Jesus fucking Christ, mate, just shut the fuck up. And we're like, he's like, would you guys just be chill? Like, everything's gonna be sweet. Just shut the fuck up.
Everything's gonna be sweet.
Jesus, mate. Like, we all recognized, oh my god, you're right. Like, we're complaining for no reason. So we all there's 22 of us, and we all held each other accountable. And every time someone got a little negative, we'd be like, hey, everything's gonna be sweet. Don't worry. And I recognized that in that like 5 months that I was traveling, no one complained. So when I moved back home, you know, obviously things start getting back to normal. You get back in the same routine. Now all of a sudden I'm not as happy anymore. And I realized how often I was complaining. So I made that conscious effort last year. The year before I moved to California.
Yeah.
I made the conscious effort that I am not going to complain. And it's not like I just, you know...
It just happened one day.
It's not just that it just happens. Like, it would be cold out, and I would be like, don't say it out loud.
Yeah.
I would drop my coffee. Don't say it sucks. You can get another.
Yeah.
Like,
You're in the best country in the world to go buy another a fucking coffee at any corner.
I actually stopped myself from complaining out loud, and when I heard other people complain, I held them accountable for it. And I even at some points would say, I really just can't listen to you complain all day.
And it's an action step. And you did it every single day.
And people get offended by it, but then they realize, oh shit, you know, you're right, I'm fucking annoying. And when you create that chain reaction, all of a sudden you all stop complaining. And that was, I think for me, that was the first thing I did was like, I'm not going to complain anymore.
Which is so much bigger than people may even think, because
you're pouring negativity
into your life.
Literally around yourself 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, was it a bad day, a bad moment? Oh my god, I'll never freaking forget this. That day that my car died at the gas station, just died. So I called AAA, he comes, he, boosts the car up, jacks it up, whatever you want to fucking call it.
Jacks it up.
Yeah, jacks it up. So then I'm driving down the street. I was supposed to go right. I accidentally took a left because I was supposed to go on the freeway. My car dies again in the middle of the road, and I am screaming in my car. I'm pissed. And the AAA, another guy comes, and now they have to tow my car, and I'm just being such a bitch to this guy.
Aww.
And then all of a sudden, I go to crack open my Big Energy, and it explodes on my face. And I, in that moment, started laughing. And I was like, this is fucking hilarious. Like,
this is a good joke.
Like, this is a great joke. This is literally, like, this is funny, honestly. And the way that I just treated that person, like, I fucking deserve that. Like, but also, I was supposed to be on the freeway. I ended up in the middle of the road. Like, there's a reason that I wasn't on the freeway, right? And, like, I found that hidden, like, fake, false meaning in the fact that I was on the freeway. But it ended up me just, like, taking a second being like, what am I even complaining about? Yeah. It's just inconvenience. It's not the end of the world. And then I got into the car with the AAA guy, and I actually was like, I'm sorry for being such a brat. It's not, I go, bad moment, not a bad life. And he ended up being super rad.
Super rad.
Super rad. And we had great conversation. I was like, wow, that was probably one of the best conversations I've had. I also had no friends at the time because I just moved to California. Oh yeah, this was like in the pursuit of like, I still was homeless. So my car died. I was like, now I'm really fucked.
Yeah, you're like, where am I gonna go?
Where am I gonna sleep?
I think that's good though. Like, I had a similar experience this past Thanksgiving break. And it was just like another thing of like, oh, you've grown so much and this is just so awesome, and how attitude and mindset, like everybody thinks like, why be positive? Be realistic. And it's like, it's not about not being realistic. It's just about choosing what you're gonna let affect you. Like,
it's choosing to find meaning in it.
that's what it is. And you let that meaning create feeling inside of you that then you carry for the rest of the day, week, month, whatever the fuck it is. And it's like, I lost my wallet Thanksgiving break, Thanksgiving
Again.
Eve. No. I've only lost my wallet twice.
But the first time was bad.
What was the first time?
When you moved to California.
No, okay, yeah. That one too. That was down. I lost, get this, I have lost a wallet or bag, whatever, it had all my shit in there, once in Las Vegas when I was doing a road trip. And it was like one of those things I was like, oh my God, where did I put my wallet last? Like, I don't know.
It's like not lost in your apartment. You're like, I am fucked
We were at the
right
casino.
now.
Those things are huge. So I lost it there once, and then in Big Sur, I left it in a bathroom.
Never bring up Big Bear.
I won't bring up Big Bear. That's another conversation for another day. That was a rough trip. But Big Sur was also a rough trip for me because I left it in a bathroom. They have no like service there, whatever. And I ended up basically driving to Los Angeles, hours and hours and hours away, not knowing. And it was this whole fucking shit show. Canceled my cards, all this. But even through that, like, I have one of the craziest move-in stories I've ever heard, literally from anyone. And it was like, everyone's like, oh my God, that must have been horrible and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no. Like, luckily, I was with my brother, another person who, number one, doesn't complain, handles business, and just has a good attitude. And both of us were just like, well, this is what we can do right now, this is what we can do tomorrow, and then this is what we're gonna do if this doesn't work out.
Well, yeah, because when you really think about
That's it.
Was it inconvenient? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But were you gonna die?
No.
No.
Was there a solution to?
Was there a solution?
That's the other
Could you
thing.
reorder those cards? Could you get a new
Yes.
license?
Very inconvenient, but there is a solution. There's very, 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 very few things that you don't have a solution to. You're just pissed that you're in a position that you have to create
And I can
that
tell
solution.
you right now, the only thing that will make anything 10 times worse is your damn attitude.
Your attitude.
Your
and it also
attitude.
makes things 10 times better. Like, I lost that wallet and I was like, well, this is still beautiful and I'm still on this trip and we're still gonna go see places.
I have
and
hit a point of whatever shit happens to me, and anyone who knows me knows that stuff happens to me.
Jesus.
I think it's hilarious. I have gotten to the point that I laugh about everything that happens. And I call my friends and I'm like, you will not believe what just happened to me.
Yes.
You will not believe who just said this to me. You won't believe like what I just did. Like the things that happen, they just happen. Like, don't find rough meaning in things. Like, life, don't take it so seriously. Life is supposed to be fun and funny. It's a good story.
And the thing is, like, with life, you're going to have problems. You are going to have things that come up, and you're going to have things that don't go to your plan, whatever your plan is that you're creating in your head of how things are supposed to be. They're not going to go that way. So it's like, why don't you just surrender to the idea that life is made to be lived? There's nothing to it. It's all what you make of it. And your attitude is what gears how you're actually going to live your life, how you're going to enjoy yourself through a lifetime.
And I think the hardest thing for people to understand is that life is meaningless. That simple. And it sounds dark, but it's not supposed to be. If you're saying that I'm a dark person, you're creating meaning in what I'm saying. Okay?
Yeah.
But literally, like, to sit there and say, like, I'm supposed to do this in life, I'm supposed to do that. No, you're not.
You can do whatever you
Like,
want.
we're all just walking this planet, each individual irrelevant specimens, doing whatever we want.
And you find meaning. I think the beauty is like you find meaning, and it's
and you can.
And what
if you
you're
want
saying
to.
is like where life is meaningless. It's like that can be used as a tool to help people detach from all of the meaning that they're putting in.
That's negative.
That's
especially.
negative. Be intentional about the meaning. Like,
yeah,
you want to create friendships and relationships that are truly meaningful, and you want to invest in yourself in a meaningful way. You want to invest in your passions, your hobbies, or your career in a meaningful way. create meaning in those areas in beautiful, artistic ways.
Yeah.
Loving ways. But don't create meaning out of things that don't mean anything.
In the crappy moments. In that you,
Yeah.
or that
Losing
you
your wallet, like what is that gonna do? Nothing.
Oh yeah, missing a flight? No. You know what?
It happens.
Oh
It
yeah,
happens.
yeah. I literally just missed my flight back to San Diego, and I'm telling you right now that I was laughing hysterically, and I also got to spend a whole day with 2 of my best friends.
Oh my god, it's actually funny you're saying that because you had that, and then my experience coming home from Thanksgiving break, Boston had a horrible snowstorm, and no, and they shut down the entire airport. Not a flight came in, not a flight went out for over 24 hours.
You know what I love?
What?
You know what I love about airports? I love eavesdropping and listening to people, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, like the plane is gonna be 30 minutes late. Like, oh, this is so inconvenient."
You
And
are flying.
I literally am sitting there. I go, a giant metal object is flying
It's picking you up
through the sky, and the 30 minutes is the end of the world.
Yeah.
I just want to land personally, but
Yeah.
you know, you do you, girl. Like you,
Yeah. Be
you
upset.
let this ruin your day because I'm over here just like, oh, they need to check the engine.
Let's let them do that
Let's
twice.
let them do that 20 times
Yeah.
if they want to.
And I love that. It's like, what, you missed your fucking flight and you got to spend more time with the people you love most? That's a win.
Yeah,
In every book of mine, that is a win.
that is a win.
And I think that's where our mindset has come in so strong because I know people in the exact same situation as me would have been like, fuck this, I'm so pissed. I knew I should have bought an earlier one or went in later. Like, I can't believe this. And I was like, it's actually kind of nice. It's a whole snow day. I go, all of my best friends are off from work and I get to spend the whole day with them.
I said the exact same thing.
We went
I
to
was
go
like, wow.
see the Christmas tree in Faneuil Hall. Like,
Oh,
I couldn't be happier if I tried. I'm like, this is how you make the best of it.
it's your attitude.
It's your attitude. So long story short, we are wrapping up on about an hour. Some of that will be edited out because one of it's, you know, 1, inappropriate, 2, a little too funny for this podcast.
3, we're assholes.
Yep, we sometimes have to reel it in, so a little bit of this will be edited out maybe. We'll see. I don't know. But thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been like way long overdue.
I know, I'm so glad we finally did this.
We'll literally be back for more. I will link all of Morgan's information in the box below, and everything will be linked. So if there's anything that you want to plug, you know, follow her on IG. That would be the main thing.
Love that. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for having me, Libby.
Anytime, baby. I love you.
I love you. Please don't put that on the podcast.
I'm going to. I'm 100%. That's the outro. I love you, baby. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. I will talk to you guys later.